So where is this South Korean side? Obviously, I remember vividly 2002 and how good that team was. It seemed like that was the pinnacle of a cycle for them, and a little bit of home field, which certainly benefited them. Where are they in their cycle right now?
It's been lots of ebbs and flows, ups and downs. I think South Korean fans, if you ask them now, like, how do you feel, especially post Klinsmann era, they'll just all go, that's literally the best way to describe it. I don't know, with the greatest respect, because I think South Korean fans, to a relative degree, I think they're a little bit confused as to how they feel, really. It's just because, obviously, with the talent that we have coming up, the experienced veterans, the young bucks coming up, we should be excited, right? On paper, we should be. But when we're looking at all the chaos that's been going on surrounding Klinsmann, his exit, bringing on Coach Hong Myung-bo, and everything that's just kind of sort of like been plastered in front of us, we're just kind of not too sure in that sense. But I think the upside to it, if I may, as a fan watching what's been going on, at least the vibes are in repair, and I think those things are very important steps in terms of building, not just from a squad perspective, squad morale, but also from a fan's perspective. You want to have that optimistic approach going into the World Cup.
John, I think this is important. Before I ask you the question, I want to just set the standard for pronunciations, because there's a lot of people within the comments, and also when you hear them, people don't know, is it Heung-min Son? Is it Son Heung-min? Is it Park Ji-sung? Is it Ji-sung Park? Can you break down the pronunciation of South Korean names?
Sure. So, for example, we'll take Son Heung-min, for example. Son is his surname. In sort of Western, or let's just for our sake, American culture, you put the surname at the end, which is why it's Heung-min Son. But for me, it's not that big of a difference for me, as long as you're giving it the shot. Son Heung-min Son. I'm not necessarily one to argue too much. From my perspective as a South Korean, I feel it my sort of duty, or it's only right for me that I address him as Son Heung-min, because that's just how we address him as. And I have no problem with folks calling him Heung-min Son or Son Heung-min. It's not really that much. But in Korean culture, or from a Korean perspective, you would call him Son Heung-min, Park Ji-sung, and so on and so forth.
So you pronounce the surname first.
Correct.
In South Korean. So, all right. So, but they don't take offense. There's nothing. Okay, cool. All right. My second question now is,
okay. Wait. Go ahead and ask your second question, Davies, Charlie.
Thank you. Is undefeated World Cup qualifying. What are the real expectations for South Korea in this World Cup? Because we're trying to gauge, obviously this is an important friendly for both South Korea and the United States, but what are the expectations next summer? How far do you think it is possible to go?
See, this is where I get a little sort of, iffy, because Coach Hong Myung-bo came out and he was like, we have everything to make it to the round of 8. We have everything. We have the quality. We have the team. We have the depth. I, as a fan, am a bit skeptical in that sense. I want to sit here and tell all of you gentlemen, we're going to make it. You know what I mean? But I would be very happy if we made it to the round of 16. I think getting out of the group stages and making it to the 16 is for me, the priority. We want to make sure we're kind of, fighting, at least from the perspective of a fan that I believe has the quality to make it out of the group stages, either as winners or runner-ups or whatever it may be. And I strongly do believe that we can make it out of the group stages this time around. So I'm super excited in that sense. But the optimism from Coach Hong Myung-bo, while it is valid, it does bring up a little bit of the and that's why I was saying before, it's like Korean fans are like, it's like everything feels right now.
I feel like we're around that. No.
Yeah, that's a familiar feeling, John. You tap into something that we're also experiencing at this moment. Let's talk though about Son Heung-min, because is he still the guy for the team? Are they still building around him? Obviously a special talent. We're excited to see him continue to perform for LAFC, but I know there are some other players, you said some young bucks that are maybe ready to take on more responsibility. How much of a factor do you think he plays in terms of the success of South Korea, not only against us this upcoming weekend, but into the World Cup as well?
It's a tricky one. It's a very tricky one, because for Coach Hong Myung-bo, he needs to figure out how he's going to transition this team post-Sunny era, right? And for Son Heung-min, he has probably been, if I may speak on behalf of all South Korean fans, he has probably been the greatest thing since sliced bread for South Korean fans. He has been absolutely the shining light of everything with respect to South Korea.
Bigger than Ji-sung Park?
Ah,
Park
you see,
Ji-sung.
this is okay. See, this is what I don't know if we're gonna do this right now. I don't know if we have enough time, but
Well, that's your favorite player of all time. We should just get that out in front.
yeah, exactly.
Park
No.
Ji-sung.
Hey, Park Ji-sung was a legend, bro. Come
Absolutely,
on.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I may, just real quick, I think Park opened the doors for a lot of South Korean and Asian footballers to sort of make their way and ease their way into Europe, the greatest stage on world football, you know, in many football fans' views. And Son Heung-min came into the stage. He came out with his shoulders and he said, you know what? We can ball too. You know what I mean? And that's what we love about Sonny. He didn't just go there with his head down and go, oh, you know, we'll work hard, high work rate. We'll, you know, like what Park did. It was more about, no, I'm going to win the golden boot. No, I'm going to do these things. And that's why South Korean fans have and Asian fans in general have such a high regard and love for Son Heung-min. But in terms of the national team, Coach Hong recently came out and they were asking him, they're like, they were asking about his captaincy. And he came out and he was like, he may be captain, he may not be captain.
Whoa.
And that was some, woo.
Well, from Klinsmann, we had him on the show, and he did say Lee Kang-in and Son Heung-min had a big bust up, like a fist fight, and he didn't know how to deal with that. So what has transpired since then? Are they cool? Can they be in the same room? Is there a respect?
Of course. And that all that got nipped in the bud very early on. And obviously it's something that none of us wanted to see, and it was very disappointing to hear, but these things happen. Lee Kang-in is a very young player. He's got lots of potential. And you also have to understand that a lot of these players, if we're just speaking from a cultural sense, Korean culture and the way that Korean culture, and in comparison to, I guess, quote unquote, Western culture, is very different. So the upbringing for a lot of these players, Lee Kang-in spent all of his years in the La Liga side. So he spent his early days in Spain. You know, he played in Valencia, Mallorca, and he grew up very differently. And a lot of these players, they're all Korean, but they're all coming from different upbringings, different backgrounds, and there might be clashes, there might be problems. But at the end of the day, the biggest concern for me is, can they address it? And I'd like to think that, yes, while it was disappointing, it was addressed. And I'm proud of both of them, and I'm proud of the way that they handled it. But in terms of Coach Hong's problem is, how do we address this? And I'd like to think he kind of tested the waters. He kind of sprinkled and he said, we'll see if he's going to be captain or not. And then it came back with a bit of backlash, because South Korean fans were like, you didn't have to speak like that. You could have just been like, oh, maybe, you know, there's a team of great leaders in this squad. It could be Son, and we could potentially have Son integrate these other young leaders into becoming the next guy. He could have spoken sort of that way, but he kind of just came out and was like, he could be captain, he might not be. We have no idea. So I think that came back, and it kind of played into his favor, because now Coach Hong Myung-bo knows, like, maybe it's not the right time. He still, I believe, has everything in his system to lead this team, and he 110% should be there. And Charlie, you were asking, I can't remember if it was Jimmy. Is he the guy that we need to build this team around? World Cup 2026, I still believe that he needs to be the focal point, 100%. He might not need to be playing 95 minutes, but he still needs to be the focal point to a certain degree.
MLS likes to hear that, Tony.
Yeah. You keep using sort of the term like about this team, right? When Jimmy asked you about post Jurgen Klinsmann, it's like well, it sounds to me like, and I know you're good vibes, Johnny, right? Like I get it, but it sounds to me like there's reason to be excited about this group, right? That there's an opportunity for them to do something special. And that's I know that's what you're hoping for, but why so? Is it because Jurgen Klinsmann's time ended the way that it did there, or are they just not seeing what the advancement that they want to see?
I think a lot of the quote unquote comes from the idea that Coach Hong Myung-bo and the way that he was rehired. Remember, this is his second stint as the South Korean manager. The way that he was rehired, he was doing a very good job at Ulsan HD before taking the job. And Coach Hong Myung-bo was like, in the beginning, he was like, I don't know if I want to take that job again. And, you know, I'd understand from his perspective, his first stint didn't really go as, you know, many people expected. He was having a great time domestically in the K-League. And then all of a sudden, now he does a U-turn and goes, I'm going to take the job again. So South Korean fans are like, you know, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? KFA, what are we doing? And that's where the comes from. I don't necessarily think it's sort of derived or brought up from the squad side of things. Obviously, the Sonny versus Lee situation maybe played a part in it, but I think it's just everything kind of compiled together into this overall. But like I said, I'm the optimist. I would love to see this side, and I wholeheartedly believe that there is enough quality and potential in this side to do some special bits here.
Look at you getting to the end of the video. All right. Very proud of you. Now, if you want more average to good content, this is your channel. Go look at other videos, playlists. We have it all figured out. For more of the good stuff, then you got to make sure you hit like on this video, hit hit subscribe so you don't miss anything, and then turn on your notifications so you know when we're going live or if anything drops right when it comes out. We'd really appreciate it. See you next time.